Bobby Sands was born in 1954. His family lived in a town called Dunmurry near Belfast in Ireland. This was a time of growing tension between two groups, Catholics and Protestants. Bobby's family was Catholic. They faced threats and intimidation from some Protestants just because of their religion. To find peace, the Sands family moved twice, first to a village called Abbott's Cross, then to Rathcoole. Sadly, even in these new places, they couldn't escape the shadow of this conflict. This experience deeply impacted young Bobby. He saw how unfair and cruel the world could be. Despite the troubles, Bobby found joy in football. He was a talented left-back for a local team called Stella Maris. Football was his escape, a place where he could be himself and forget about the troubles around him. But the reality of the conflict was never far away. As Bobby grew older, he understood more about the situation in Northern Ireland. This understanding, combined with his childhood experiences, would shape the path he would eventually take. Life in Rathcoole was tough for Bobby. While football provided some respite, sectarian tensions followed him. The friends he made through football were Protestant. As he grew older, the climate of distrust between the communities pushed them apart. Bobby experienced the pain of losing friends simply because of their different religions. At 15, Bobby left school. He started working as an apprentice coach builder. This was a difficult time. Sectarian prejudice followed him to the workplace. He faced harassment and threats from loyalist colleagues. The message was clear: he wasn't welcome. By 1971, at just 17 years old, Bobby had already witnessed and experienced the harsh realities of the conflict. The constant fear, intimidation, and violence left him feeling angry and disillusioned. It was in this climate of fear and anger that Bobby was drawn to the Republican movement. He saw the Irish Republican Army, IRA, as protectors of his community. He believed they were fighting for a just cause, a united Ireland, free from British rule. The IRA offered a sense of belonging and purpose that he craved. This belief led him to make a life-altering decision. In late 1971, Bobby Sands joined the IRA. His initiation was a stark indication of the path he had chosen, transporting a gun. He quickly became an active member, driven by his belief in the cause. He rose through the ranks, eventually leading a small unit of men. His activities with the IRA brought danger close to home. In 1972, his family's home was attacked. Forced to move again, they settled in Twinbrook. That same year, Bobby was arrested for the first time. He was caught in possession of a handgun. The arrest led to his first imprisonment. In 1973, he was convicted and sentenced to 5 years. This experience solidified his commitment to the Republican cause. He used his time in prison to educate himself on Irish history and politics. Released in 1976, Bobby returned to a society still gripped by conflict. He remained dedicated to the IRA's cause. This dedication led him to participate in the bombing in Balmoral that same year. His involvement resulted in another arrest after a shootout with the police. Sentenced to 14 years for possession of a revolver related to the Balmoral bombing, Bobby Sands found himself incarcerated in the notorious Maze prison. Inside its walls, he became a prominent figure in the protests against prison conditions and British rule. The prisoners' demands were simple: to be recognized as political prisoners, not criminals. They refused to wear prison uniforms, choosing instead to wrap themselves in blankets. This blanket protest escalated into the dirty protest. In March 1978, some prisoners refused to leave their cells to shower or use the lavatory because of attacks by prison officers, and the inmates would later start smearing excrement on the walls of their cells in protest of the degrading conditions. Bobby, deeply respected by his fellow prisoners, became the IRA officer commanding within the Maze prison in 1980. He used his position to articulate the prisoners' demands. He penned articles and smuggled them out of prison, ensuring their voices were heard beyond the prison walls. In 1981, Bobby took a drastic step. He became the leader of a hunger strike. He demanded recognition of their political status. He and his fellow prisoners were prepared to die for their cause. The world watched as Bobby Sands wasted away, his body slowly succumbing to starvation. Bobby Sands died on the 5th of May 1981, 66 days into his hunger strike. His death sparked outrage and grief across Ireland and internationally. The hunger strike, a desperate act of defiance, became a pivotal moment in the Troubles. It brought the plight of the prisoners and the wider conflict in Northern Ireland to the world's attention. Bobby Sands' death was a tragic loss of life, but it also became a symbol of resistance against oppression. He is remembered by many as a martyr who died fighting for his beliefs. His sacrifice resonated with many, particularly within the nationalist community. He became a symbol of their struggle for self-determination. Bobby Sands' story is a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict. His journey from a young boy seeking a normal life to a symbol of resistance highlights the devastating impact of the Troubles on individuals and communities. His legacy continues to provoke debate, but his impact on the course of Irish history is undeniable. His sacrifice cannot be in vain.